Mercedes' attempt to have the decision not to investigate Max Verstappen for his defense against Lewis Hamilton in the Brazilian Grand Prix reviewed has failed. But this is not because the FIA stewards looked into the incident again and upheld their original verdict that no investigation was necessary. Instead, it's because they decreed that the attempt to reopen the case did not meet the criteria for triggering a fresh investigation. So what exactly did Mercedes argue, why wasn't it accepted, and what are the implications for the future in Formula 1? Let us know in the comments below what you think of this process and if the stewards were right to reject the petition to review. The incident in question happened on lap 48 of the Brazilian Grand Prix. Hamilton had the advantage of DRS, with Verstappen defending to the left of the circuit on the approach to the turn 4 left-hander. As both cars started to brake, Hamilton clearly moved ahead. Verstappen contested the corner on the inside line, carrying in as much speed as he felt he could. Both cars then ran wide into the runoff area before resuming, with Verstappen still ahead. Hamilton later made a successful pass on Verstappen and went on to win the race. At the time, the stewards noted the incident, then decreed that no investigation was necessary. After the race, FIA race director Michael Massey admitted that the forward-facing on-car camera from Verstappen's car was not available during the race because its live feed had switched to the rear-facing camera at the time. While footage from all cameras is stored on the cars, only whichever is selected for the live feed is transmitted without having to be extracted from the car by a physical connection. Subsequently, this footage was released, and Mercedes soon after petitioned to review on the basis of that and 360-degree camera footage from Verstappen's car. This is a process enshrined in the International Sporting Code that permits any involved or interested party to request a decision be re-examined. This process is rarely successful but is occasionally, most recently in Hamilton being hit with a 3-place penalty for the 2020 Austrian Grand Prix after 360-degree camera footage the stewards were unaware of was released shortly before the start of the race. But to the relief of Verstappen and Red Bull, this time the stewards rejected the petition to review, meaning the Brazil incident was not re-examined. Next up, we're going to talk about why the petition was rejected, but very quickly we'd like to thank everyone who has subscribed to our channel. As we've been putting this video together, we've just hit 700,000 subscribers, which is just incredible. If you're not yet part of that amazing number, but you're enjoying what we're doing here, consider hitting that button anytime to keep up with everything we do. The stewards panel, which comprised the same 4 stewards who made the original decision and included former F1 drivers Vitantonio Liuzzi and Roberto Moreno, accepted some elements of the Mercedes argument for the review, but not all of them. First, they had to decide whether their decision not to investigate the incident at the time is subject to the right of review in the first place. While the stewards felt that the International Sporting Code did not intend to allow this, they deemed the wording means it is permitted to petition to review it on the basis that it is what is called the decision concerned. So with the incident accepted as eligible to review, the evidence was considered. Mercedes submitted this initially in written form on November the 16th, 3 days before the decision. The 3 key conditions to satisfy here are that the evidence is new, relevant, and significant. The stewards accepted that the footage was both new and relevant, given it was not available to them at the time and it did show the incident in question. But the reason the right of review request was denied was that they did not consider the footage to be significant, despite Mercedes arguing that it was. This is because the stewards felt the footage showed nothing that was not clear from the other angles available at the time the original decision was made. As a result, the stewards said they did have sufficient information to make a decision at the time, and also stressed that this broadly aligned with the immediate post-race comments of both drivers involved. They also said that had they felt the Verstappen forward-facing onboard footage was required, they would have chosen to investigate the incident after the race. In simple terms, the denial of the review means the result of the Brazilian Grand Prix stands and Verstappen's 14-point advantage in the Drivers' Championship remains. But there's more at stake than just the fight between Mercedes and Red Bull, in which this is just the latest controversy. Speaking just before the verdict was published, Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff said he did not expect the review to change things, but he felt what mattered was the principle of what is and isn't allowed in racing. In this case, he believes it indicates that a driver on the inside can force an overtaking driver off track and run beyond track limits themselves in doing so. Wolff has a point. Ferrari driver Charles Leclerc has already said that he may have to adapt the way he races wheel-to-wheel as a result of Verstappen's defending being allowed. McLaren team principal Andreas Seidel has also raised concerns. After all, his driver Lando Norris was given a penalty in the Styrian Grand Prix for forcing Sergio Perez off track. There, the stewards stated Perez was alongside Norris on the outside line and therefore entitled to space. At Interlagos, Hamilton was significantly further ahead of Verstappen at the entry to the corner, with Verstappen's front wheels overlapping with his rears, so you can see the concern. Likewise, Hamilton's penalty for causing a collision with Verstappen at Silverstone was partly predicated on him being on the inside line and missing the apex. While in a different type of corner, the same is the case of Verstappen at Interlagos, something that Red Bull team principal Christian Horner attempted to shrug off, saying he felt Hamilton was never in a position to make the corner in the Brazil incident. There is also one other potential consequence from this ruling. The stewards stated in the verdict their concerns about no further action decisions being eligible for review when they felt the International Sporting Code did not intend this to be the case. This could lead to the FIA modifying the code to allow the right to review only to apply to investigations that took place and yielded a verdict, with incidents that are noted and deemed not to require an investigation no longer eligible. What do you think of the decision of the stewards, and what does the Interlagos controversy mean for the way drivers will race in F1? Let us know in the comments, and if you enjoyed our look at the verdict, even if you disagree with the stewards, don't forget to like and subscribe so we can see you again very soon.